You keep saying you don't have time. You do. What you don't have is the stomach to sit down for 60 honest minutes and watch your own week play back in slow motion. Because the second you actually look, the excuse falls apart, and you're left holding the real reason nothing's moving. So let's look. By the end of this, you'll know exactly where your life is leaking, and you won't be able to unknow it. Here's the test. Tonight, open your screen time report. Just the number. The average daily hours on your phone, most people building towards something on their own terms, are sitting somewhere between 4 and 7 hours a day on that glass. Multiply it by 7, then by 52. That's not a number anymore. That's a second job you never applied for, and the pay is your future. You felt something just now, a small flinch. Hold on to it, because that flinch is the most useful thing you own right now. Most people will close the report fast, too fast. They'll tell themselves the number is inflated, that half of it was research, that a lot of it was background noise while they cooked. Maybe. But you already know which apps ate the hours, and none of them were building anything that belongs to you. So why is it so hard to just stare at the truth for 1 full hour? That's the real question, and the answer is uncomfortable. You avoid the audit because the audit removes the alibi. As long as the story is, I'm too busy, you get to keep your self-image as someone with big plans and bad luck. The honest hour kills that story. It replaces I didn't have time with I had the time and I spent it scrolling. One of those sentences lets you sleep. The other one changes your life. Guess which one you've been protecting. Think about how you actually plan. You imagine some future version of yourself who has a clear calendar, full energy, 0 distractions, and a clean 4-hour block to finally start the thing. That person is fiction. That person never arrives. The you who exists is tired on Tuesday, restless on Thursday, and bargaining with a notification at 11 p.m. on Sunday. Plans built for the fictional you collapse the moment the real you shows up. So, stop planning for the ghost. Plan for the person who's actually here. There's a body of research on this, often called the planning fallacy, studied for decades. People underestimate how long their own tasks will take, even when they've done the exact same task before and watched it run long every single time. The pattern doesn't fix itself with experience. It fixes itself with evidence, with actually tracking where the hours go, instead of guessing. And almost nobody tracks, because tracking is the honest hour, and the honest hour stings. Let me make this concrete. A guy I'll call Marco wanted to launch a small product. 2 years of when things calmed down, until he decided to just track the days. He logged 1 ordinary week, hour by hour, in Hone, the free habit tracker that keeps streaks with no account required. Link in the description. And the picture came together fast. He found 11 hours gone to short form video he couldn't even remember watching. 11. He needed to see the 11 hours he'd been pretending didn't exist. And that's the move available to you tonight. You don't have to wake up at 5. You don't have to buy a new system. You just have to write down, honestly, what the last 7 days actually contained. This gets harder than it sounds. The clock isn't the only thing leaking. Your attention is leaking, and that's worse. You can have a free 3-hour window and waste all of it because your focus is shredded into 90-second strips. You sit down to build, you feel the pull, you check one thing, and 40 minutes evaporate. The hour wasn't the problem. The fragmentation was. So the audit has 2 columns. Where did the time go, and where did the attention go? You can protect your calendar and still lose the war inside your own head. Picture the last time you sat down to do real work on your own project. How long before your hand reached for the phone without a single conscious decision? For most people, it's under 10 minutes. That reach is a trained reflex built by apps engineered by some of the smartest people alive, whose entire job is to make that glass more interesting than your goals. You're outgunned, and you've been fighting them with willpower, which is the one weapon they already planned for. Now hold on, because there's a fair objection here. Maybe you genuinely are slammed. 2 jobs, a sick parent, a brutal commute, real obligations that aren't going anywhere. That's true for a lot of people, and it would be a lie to pretend an hour appears just because you want it badly enough. Some weeks, the math really is against you. Willpower won't conjure time that structurally isn't there, but the audit still matters, maybe more. If you're that stretched, every leaked hour costs you double. The honest hour doesn't promise you 40 free hours. It shows you the 2 or 3 that were always recoverable, the ones hiding in the cracks you stopped noticing. And it tells you the truth about which sacrifices are real and which ones you invented to feel busy. The leaks are rarely where the drama is. It's the 15-minute warm-up before every task that somehow becomes the task. The quick break with no exit. The 3 hours of half watching a series while half scrolling, getting neither rest nor progress, just a numb in-between that leaves you more drained than when you started. That in-between is the thief. It dresses up as relaxation and robs you of both the work and the actual rest. So when you do your honest hour, hunt for the in-between. Find the time that's neither work nor recovery. There's another leak most people never even count. The time before the time. The 10 minutes you spend getting ready to start. Opening the laptop, then checking a message, then making coffee, then reading one more thing, then deciding the moment's gone, and you'll start fresh tomorrow. You logged 0 hours of work and somehow burned an entire evening of intention. That ritual feels productive because your hands were moving. Your project stayed exactly where it was. And the cruelest part is what this does to your sense of yourself. Every night you intend to build and don't, you teach your own brain that your word means nothing. Promise broken, quietly, with no witness. Do that for a year, and you stop believing you're the kind of person who finishes things. Then you wonder why motivation feels dead. It's not dead. You spent it one abandoned evening at a time, on a slow loan you never noticed signing. The honest hour is where you start paying that loan back. You see the broken promises in writing, and for once, you stop arguing with yourself about whether they happened. Something shifts once you see it written down. The vague guilt that's been following you around finally has an address. Guilt with no target just makes you feel bad and change nothing. Guilt with coordinates becomes a map. I lose 90 minutes every night between 10 and 11:30 is a problem you can actually attack. I'm just lazy is a sentence that goes nowhere except deeper into the hole. And here's what nobody tells you about the audit. It exposes the lie that you don't enjoy the work. Somewhere in your honest week, you'll find a pocket of time where you were building something of your own and completely lost track of the clock. You'll see in your own handwriting proof that the focus is available to you. You felt it, you just haven't engineered your week to protect it. That's the turn. The audit is reconnaissance. You're not gathering evidence to convict yourself. You're gathering intelligence on where your life actually goes, so you can redirect it on purpose instead of bleeding it out by accident. Once you have the map, the moves get almost embarrassingly simple. You don't need a productivity religion. You take the single biggest leak and you put one piece of friction in front of it. Log the app out. Move it off the home screen. Leave the phone in another room for the first hour of real work. You're just making the path of least resistance point toward what you actually want, because the path of least resistance is where you'll always end up. Stop fighting that current. Bend it. And you protect one block, not the whole day. One honest block where the work that's yours comes before the noise. Most people try to defend their entire calendar and lose all of it. You defend 90 minutes like the life you want depends on it. Because it does. more than you think. 1 protected block, repeated daily, compounds into a skill, then a project, then a version of you that the scrolling crowd will call lucky. They won't have watched the boring nights that built it. Remember that flinch from the beginning, the one you felt looking at the screen time number? That flinch was information. It was the part of you that already knows, the part that's been quietly keeping score while you told yourself the comfortable story. You can keep overriding it. Plenty of people do, for decades. They reach 40 still saying, when things calm down. And things never calm down, because calm was never coming. The clock was always the alibi. The hour is the threshold, not the productivity hack, not the new app, not the perfect morning routine you'll start Monday. Just one honest hour, alone, with no audience to perform for, looking at how you actually spend the only thing you can't earn back. Most people will never sit through it. It's too revealing. It asks you to trade a flattering story for a useful one. And a lot of people would rather keep the story. You're not most people, or you'd have scrolled away by now. So tonight, before the day dissolves into one more feed you won't remember, open a blank file and write down the last 7 days as they really were. Not as you wish they'd been, as they were. The honest hour will cost you exactly 60 minutes and one comfortable lie. Pay it. That lie was never worth what it was charging you anyway.